to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, item 2C, Chair will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Agenda's approved. Item 3, would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion is second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Delegations.
Item 4, audience delegations. May I be this evening?
No, sir.
Very good. Item 5, no old business. Item 6A, partner organization, Bright Futures.
We have Lacey Dominic here tonight to share about Bright Futures and their plans for this school year.
That was speedy. It took me up so fast. Lacey Dominic, I think I spoke to you all again about this time last year. I'm the current chair for the Bright Futures organization. Still doing the same things. Working in the community. It's community organization. I do want to drive that home because a lot of times there's just a lot of misconception about we're a school program. We do use the school a lot. We partner with them a lot, but we are a community-based program. Just working to meet the needs of the kiddos in the community, whether those be basic needs for food and clothing, but we also have a lot of great programs where we're helping support them by interaction with positive role models as well. Still working with all of our great partners, businesses, faith-based organizations, civic groups, social and human services, the schools, and then just all of the volunteers that are gracious enough to give their time, talent, and treasure. That's what we ask everybody to give is your time, talent, and treasure, because not everybody can give all of those, and you may not be able to, you can only give just one of those things. And even if it's as little as, hey, learn something about Bright Futures and then go tell people about it, that's all we're asking to. Just spread the word, be a resource. Organizationally, we are still 21 strong on our board, and we have 5 student reps this year, all just really great kids. We have started in the past couple of years asking those kids to own a program, and they are still doing that. So we've got kiddos that are running our High Five Fridays that you see that are happening at a school, taking that and signing up groups and clubs to show up at those days. We will work with a student to organize our bowls for Bright Futures, which I'll talk about a little bit later. So just really getting them involved and then having them kind of hand down the baton to the next class when we need to fill those spots because they graduate in the coming years. We still have our building councils at every single building. Every one of our councils has a board member that sits on it, and then we encourage those different areas of partnership to come and step in and serve on those council meetings as well as the staff within each of those buildings also. And they are just kind of, ears to tell us what is happening, what do you need, what do your kids need, and report back to us and how can we help fill that need. A couple of our big programs, the Back to School Fair we hosted in August. This year we served 233 students, up from 214. What that looked like is we gave them all backpacks specific to the grade levels that they're going into with the full set of school supplies that they needed. That was a 2-day event, and there was a host of vendors out at Milwaukee Mall that also were there to provide parents and families with different resources that they may need for the upcoming school year as well. Food for Thought is still just one of our biggest programs. That is our food program where we are providing boxes of food to the kids to take home through the weekend days to give them access to food when they don't have access to school. Currently we are serving about 180 families. The average cost of a box is about $19 a box. So just in the last 2 months, we've given out about 350 boxes and spent about $6,600 just in the first 2 months of the school year. So it's by far our biggest expense, and it's fully funded by just donation by the community. Our big fundraiser, the Bowls for Bright Futures event, which will actually be in our 3rd year this coming February, has been a great prop up for that program. All of the funds raised at that evening go straight into this program. We recently received a $7,000 grant from the Truman Heartland Community Foundation. We just got that news here a few weeks ago. We go up and receive that here in November. Very excited about that, but we've already got it spent, so we got to keep working. Another program I'm really excited about, I think I maybe mentioned this last year, but it was still kind of growing. Back in 2019, it was brought to our attention that there were high school students that might not be enrolling in like dual credit courses because financially they didn't have the means to take those. And we thought if we could maybe eliminate that barrier, that would set those students out on the same path as every other student, presenting equal opportunity and a heads up in their secondary education. So from that, a program called Clearing the Path Scholarship was created. We've learned a lot with this, and we're still learning a lot with this. But this semester, we were able to support 6 students, awarding about $3,400, helping them pay for these secondary classes that they're taking in high school right now. We have some really generous donors, and it's because of those donors that we were able to really meet this need, because our donors stepped up big. We came to them, we said, hey, we've got this. They have a passion for helping further these students' educations, and they supported that in a really big way. So we're really excited about that program. We're going to be doing a lot of fundraising and talking about that just to generate some awareness to that new and growing program as well, because we expect it will grow. As teachers know it's available to their students, and as students know that it's available to them, we expect to see more of those applications coming in. Lunch buddies. We have lunch buddies at the McEwen still, where we are pairing a positive adult role model with a kiddo at the McEwen, and you get to come twice a month and have lunch with your buddy and play a game and just hang out and just be a good influence. We currently have 21 kiddos partnered with a lunch buddy, and we just found out this week we still have 9 to 10 students that are seeking a lunch buddy. So they're just on the wait list until we can find somebody. So if you or somebody that you know would love to be partnered with a lunch buddy, we have space for you. I wanted to just, we're trying to highlight more bright spots. We have a new form out on our Facebook page if you haven't seen it. If you've had a positive experience with Bright Futures, check that form out, share it. We want to highlight these good moments. But one was specifically about lunch buddy, and this didn't necessarily come from that, but it's still a bright spot. Judy Wiesman has been a lunch buddy since its inception, and if you haven't seen the note that her student wrote, I highlighted a couple lines because I thought it was really special. But Mrs. Judy is my lunch buddy. She's important to me. She makes me happy, and she brings me food. I love her so much. One day when I go to the middle school, I hope Mrs. Judy comes and visits me in middle school. She's going to try to still be my lunch buddy. Mrs. Judy takes care of me just like a mom would take care of kids. There's more that the student goes on to say, but this is what makes this program so cool. And the fact that she is welcome to accompany them along to middle school, I think says big things. Classroom Partners is similar, but obviously we're working with an entire classroom instead of just a student. We work to pair businesses or civic groups or even just a group of friends that want to get together and adopt one of our elementary classrooms. And they come into the classroom once a month, work on a project. Recently, you probably saw Mrs. Johnson's class was featured on the news because Culver's is their partner, and they did a whole highlight on them. So that is part of that Classroom Partners program. We currently have 14 partners paired with different classrooms through the district, and we are still seeking 7 more partners. So again, if you have any interest, if you have a group of friends or know anybody, more are always welcome. Couple upcoming events. We generally have our annual breakfast. We're going to come at it from a different angle this year. We're going to be a part of the third Thursday in the month at the Square. This month is cider and flannels. And we will be in the Lexington on the Square from 5 to 8, and it's just a come and go event. Just setting up some information so we can have some personal conversations with people and hopefully just educate. This is what we do. If you want to get involved, we would love to have you, and there's just all the different ways that you can help. So please come by and see us on Thursday if you're free. And then Bowls for Bright Futures, as I mentioned, that's our big fundraiser for our Food for Thought program. It is currently scheduled for February 18th. We have it at a home basketball game where both the boys and the girls play. It's in the cafeteria. Our amazing community partners come and provide just lots of great food. It's been a really exciting event that has grown over the last couple of years, and we're looking forward to it again this year. So thank you guys for having me. Thank you to so many that help and partner with us already. We really appreciate you. Any questions for me?
Just to clarify, that's this Thursday that you guys will be up there on the
Yep.
square.
Yep, October 17th. Yep.
February 18th, I think the board meeting.
Move to the cafeteria at the high school.
Yeah.
We'll take that under advisement. Thank you very much. Item 6B, Superintendent's Report.
Yeah, well, I do need to report on our Bright Futures. Their new social media intern is absolutely phenomenal, and how lucky they are to have that. But there's also this very sharp-dressed man that's in most all of your pictures, giving away certificates and things. So we are very pleased and blessed to have you. I know you want to be low-key on that, but you are representing us very well, and we appreciate that. I just want to share a few things that has happened over the last week. One of which is the health department came to do immunizations for our district on Monday during our PD day. And typically we will go through our partner Blue KC that will have a company that will come in and be able to do that for us. But in trying to continue our partnership with the health department, they were able to come in and give us multiple options on what types of shots are available to those that need different types of immunizations or other things, whether it's their shingles vaccination or the COVID shot or the flu shot or neonatal pieces, and those were all available to us, where if we went with that just one option, it was just the flu or COVID shot. So the health department really has stepped up to be a great partner and help us with that. They also help us with our immunizations at the beginning of the year and other times throughout the year to help us, so they did a great job. And I also want to say thank you, board members, that were able to make it to the high school last week for our board walkthrough. Dr. Rorvig opened his doors to us, and I felt like it was an excellent opportunity to see what's going on in our buildings during a time of learning. Just a reminder that next week we have CCC, and Dr. Hickman will be opening her doors, so make sure that you let Susan know if you'll be able to attend that. It's at 9 o'clock next Thursday. We talked today and thinking through that, we don't believe that it'll last till the 11 like we did this last one, but probably 9 to 10, 10:15. But we're looking forward to sharing that. And then there are other schools coming up. Enrollment, you'll see that we're not down. So as I've talked about before, our biggest goal is not to one day come in and say we had 60 more kids. If we had 60 more kids, the principals might be revolting because they have to get that going on. But what we do see, and what I can say, is that I hate to use this analogy, but I've been using it, we're stopping the bleed. And that bleed has just been a slow drip, and right now we've kind of plugged out all of them. And we hope that it is a continuous thing that we see throughout the school year, recognizing that we're not losing students. Maybe not necessarily in the gaining department, but enough to where we're not losing students, which is important for us as a district. And finally, I'll turn things over to Jill, who, man, we were impressed last week, or last board meeting, by our CCC student, but to see tonight from our high school students. We've got some great things to share.
So tonight, Dr. Warwick is here, and he's going to introduce some of our real-world learning interns. I have to say that real slow. That's the next level. We had our Client Connected Projects class that we started last year, and now we've added the internships. So you want to come up and introduce my kids who come up and
Yes, I will echo what Jill says. It's hard for me not to say will running a lot. Sometimes it's just so many R's and W's and the same sound. But so yeah, last year we presented to you guys to add what was called an internship class. This is all kind of with us working with the Kauffman Grant, trying to find ways to get our students more market value assets. So if you remember your 4 market value assets: entrepreneurial experiences, work experience, IRC, so industry recognized credentials, and college credit. So there's a couple of those that we are pretty robust in, but taking a look at it, the work experience was one where we felt we were kind of missing. And one of the ways that we students could earn that the Kauffman Foundation recognizes is through internships. So getting our kids out there in the community with an opportunity to experience kind of some different real world jobs. So I've got a couple of students here with me today, and they were going to talk just a little bit. I'll let them do the talking mostly about what this is, but kind of from the school standpoint, what we do. Mrs. Colburn's back there, our business liaison, which by the way, she's fantastic about working and helping and building some of those connections between the school and the community. But she helps us. These guys come in, they let them know what they're interested in, and the goal is let's get you out into a business and see if it's something that you like or you don't like. Okay, then we can potentially make some choices on our career from there. So if you guys want to step up, I will. So I've got Jackson and I've got Josie here today. Okay, so I'm going to let them first. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and then I teed them up with some questions. I told them I'd remind them when I got up here of all the things I kind of wanted to talk about. But if you guys just kind of want to start about names and where you're working right now.
So my name is Jackson. I'm a senior at Harrisonville High School, and I have been placed at Prime Accounting Solutions because of my interest in finance and the fintech world. So I came into this course looking for some real-world experience. I had previously tried to reach out to smaller businesses as well, looking for an internship already. I have previous banking experience where I worked at another bank previously, and I really liked the financial aspect of it. So I was looking to get more experience and take advantage of that. And this course aligned perfectly whenever it was introduced to me. So I wanted to go ahead and take advantage of that, and Mrs. Colburn worked relentlessly trying to get me into an internship in finance. Was a little difficult because of my age and restrictions and regulations as well, but luckily, even though I was the last one to be placed, I say that like it was a long time. It only took a few days. It wasn't, but she got it worked out, and I was able to be placed at Prime Accounting Solutions, where I come in and I help. And whenever I say I help, I get to sit down at Amy's desk, and I am directed on processing payrolls for local companies and their W-2s and taxes and all that fun stuff as well. And it's been great. I have never gotten so much hands-on experience previously. It's been a really good learning opportunity.
Okay, yeah, and then I'll ask you guys one last couple questions. Sorry, go ahead.
Hello, I'm Josie Tyndall, and I am interning at Atkinson Funeral Home, and I'm a senior, and I've learned a lot about the funeral business and funeral service industry, and a lot of things that I really didn't think I'd be able to learn until I actually got my certification and became an embalmer and started working in a funeral home. And I've gotten to learn about the business aspect of directing a funeral home a lot more than I realized, and I feel like a lot of other people don't realize.
Sorry. So one of the things that I asked them is maybe to tell us something interesting that they've seen so far. I mean, not that you're going to have any shortage, but maybe something interesting that you've done that you wouldn't necessarily get in a high school.
I recently I've been able to watch the embalmers at Atkinson Funeral Home embalm people, and I've been able to help get people ready and dressed for their funerals. And it's been really cool, and I really like being there.
And I know you kind of talked about the payroll. I don't know if you want to say.
One of the interesting aspects of my internship would be learning how to use the different types of payroll processing softwares like QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Desktop, Ensure Payroll, and all these different types of softwares, and getting experience in using all of those. So therefore, whenever I proceed into the business world, it's not going to be a confusing concept to learn. So.
Okay, and I will tell you, one of the big goals, I think, of this program was for students to be able to, first of all, experience different jobs, because I know a lot of times what we get is we either know what we see on TV or what our parents do, or teaching. Not that we don't want people to be teachers, because we definitely do want that, but I hear a lot of kids, you talk to me, say doctor, lawyer, or like I said, what our parents do. So the whole goal of this is to get them out there and to see whether they like something before they fully dive into it. So the last question I had for them, just to kind of answer, is what maybe has this had any influence on what you think you're going to do, either in a good way or a bad way? So.
You want me to go first?
Sure. Yeah.
So as for an influence on my future decisions for my career path, I mostly have been leaning towards trying to go into financial advising. Right now I'm currently studying for my Security Industry Essentials exam, which I'm trying to get. That's been going great, and that's completely outside of the school. But as far as the internship goes, it's going to be a great thing to have on my resume whenever it comes to applying for these jobs. Because as you know, a lot of kids struggle whenever they get out of college to grab jobs because of a lack of experience. I mean, we see it all the time. It's very common, and this is definitely going to shine out on my resume as an experience in the financial world.
Great. Okay, I have really struggled with knowing what I wanted to do as my career, my future career, and being able to intern at the funeral home is just really great because I didn't really know a lot of things that happen at the funeral home because not a lot of people intern at funeral homes. And it has really narrowed down the aspects of funeral business to what I do like and what I really do not enjoy doing. And I really am considering doing that as my future career.
Which, and you know what, and I will tell you, I actually, Virginia had come to us and helped us one day with our excellence in academics, and we had a really good conversation about sometimes how, you know, funeral homes are a family business and not a lot of people want to jump into that, and always trying to find people that want to do that and help take over some of those businesses. So it was a good aha moment for me, like this is an awesome experience for our kids that, you know, if you don't come from that type, you know, a funeral home family, for you to get in that, you know, get in that world and experience it. So, yeah.
Do you guys have any questions?
Are they just the first quarter, or like do you change after, or is it the whole semester?
Whole semester. I would say if they wanted to change, we could.
Yeah. Some of them, Josie is signed up for all year. I have a couple that are graduating at semester. So this was just an insight for them to do that. We currently have 10 enrolled. I have 10 kids that I placed in 7 different industries within the Harrisonville area. So
I think we've got 3 out at the hospital.
Yeah, I kind of wrote down, I have 3 at the hospital. They're in radiology, OR, and also, what's the last one?
PT.
Yes, PTOT, sorry. And then the mortuary, finance, event planning. I also have somebody at the city of Harrisonville. They wanted to be an electrician, and when we really started talking to him, it was more, well, I really like this, and I like this, and I like this. So he's working with maintenance. So getting a wide variety of aspects, and then he can take that and specialize later on. We have one that was interested in psychology and counseling. I have one working with marketing with Jill. She's also interested in being a lawyer, so we're going to look at doing some dual placement next semester. And then I have one in culinary. So.
Well, I guess my old lifeguard story's not going to come more on this. That's awesome. Like, who would have thought? That is awesome. crazy.
Well, and I kind of from our perspective, I think they would probably agree with me. You know, you get down to your senior year and you've hit all of your credits, and you're starting to look at your schedule. You're like, do I take another PE class? Do I take another? And you know, for them to be able to get out, I think, and get some experience like this speaks the worlds to, you know, once again, the whole purpose, I think, of kind of what the Kaufman Foundation is trying to achieve by getting kids out there to get these experiences versus just taking a class to take a class. So, you know, I know I've had some conversations with them, and so far, I think most of them have had pretty positive experiences. Because, like I said, I know Mrs. Colburn had spoken to, like, we have a kid right now that gets to go into the operating room at the hospital and, you know, observe surgery.
But
Cool.
he gets to go. Yeah. A lot of onboarding process from the school aspect, and a lot of questions and different things that we've just worked through along the ways. The kids have been very patient with both of us and trying to get that. Like Jackson, he was the first one, and we talked early on, and he knew exactly what he wanted to do. But placement in finance is really difficult. It's easier second semester with a tax entity and whatnot. He was very patient with me, and we found somewhere to place him with that. So it's just persistence and good kids making a great program for other businesses to want to come on board later on. Yeah.
Jackson or Josie, do you have any family members here with you?
I have my mother with me.
Introduce her to us, please.
What's that?
Introduce her to us, please.
This is my mother, Tamara Teeter.
Yeah, we are very impressed and proud to have him as a great student in our district.
Thank you. That
Thank
means
you.
a lot.
Other questions? If not, you two on the end want to take a picture?
We're gonna go over here with that.
When you're done with pictures.
If she can take a picture.
You're just obsessed.
Good job.
Yeah, as I said, and it's kind of tied together. You talked about the Bright Future social media. Well, that's the Real World Learning intern is doing Bright Futures work. So that's kind of a tie-in, piggybacking. So, okay. The next story I want to share is about a great opportunity our broadcast at the kids at the high school had. This occurred, it was set up through conversations between Mr. Cole and Vicki Harchler. There is a program through the Library of Congress to capture World War II veterans' stories. And she knew a World War II veteran that lived in Raymore. He happens to be 102 years old. And he was going to be in the Log Cabin Parade. So they did they got it all set up with his daughter. They went and did a pre-interview. He was very lucid, very cognizant, told great stories. So after the Log Cabin Parade, they went up into the courthouse. The commissioners allowed them to use the courthouse for these interviews. And so this is the group of kids. Simon was the interviewer, and then the other kids that are there and his daughter as well. They interviewed this gentleman. His name is Charles Fitzpatrick. He served in the U.S. Army in the 103rd Infantry Division. He marched over 500 fighting miles, fought in 34 major battles in 5 countries, and liberated 6 German concentration camps. The video those kids shot will be submitted to the Veterans History Project and archived in the Library of Congress. So, super cool opportunity. I can't wait to see the video. I haven't seen it yet. Simon's going to try to also, we got to figure out if he can pull some clips that we can use for other things as well. But super cool opportunity for the kids that I wanted to share with you. And then the last one is from a Facebook post from Officer Kelly with Criminal Justice CSI. The other day they were teaching traffic stops and happened to have 3 Harrisonville police officers there helping them teach traffic stops. All 3 are graduates of this Criminal Justice CSI program. So they had come back to give back to that program and to teach the kids about traffic stops. The officers are Officer Burkard, Corporal Bell, and Officer Stein. And so they came back to support that program and teach. And Officer Kelly said she even got to learn some things, like how they're doing things differently a little bit now in on the street, so to speak. And so she learned from them as well. So I thought that was another cool story I wanted to share. Okay.
Thanks, Jill.
Yep.
Item 6C, elementary school improvement plan approval.
Which one do you want?
I move,
Far right.
Chair will entertain a motion.
I move to approve the comprehensive school improvement plan, CSIP, for 2024 to 2029 as presented.
Second.
Motion and second. You're up.
All right. Well, first off, thank you. And on behalf of everybody that was involved in the CSIP planning team, a lot of which is here today. We even had some board members that was involved in it. So on behalf of all of them, I have the honor to present the CSIP to all of you, to anybody that will watch this later on YouTube and everybody in the audience today. So with that said, I'd just like to give a little bit of a brief history of how we got to this point. It started all the way back in February, and those of you who were involved in the process remember all the way back in February, we were kind of walking through the dark originally without knowing exactly what to expect or what we were going to do. We were fortunate to have an external facilitator, David Liss, come from Southern Missouri to help us through the process. And so it was a very rewarding process and a very eye-opening process. After our initial planning in February, we moved to a community meeting where we brought people in from the community to identify or to be a part of our identified strategies to try to build action plans. There's over 50 people involved in that process alone. Months and months of work over the summer took place with those individual teams, and then they brought their plans back to the big group again and presented them, and then we went through them with a fine-tooth comb and have the plan that we're going to present today. We'll start with our mission. Our former mission was to achieve excellence in education. It wasn't our goal, and we didn't start by trying to change our mission. It wasn't something that we wanted to do. We didn't set out to do that. But through the process, we wanted to change our mission to something that was more of what we do at Harrisonville and more of what this plan is about. And so I'll just read to you. Harrisonville Schools is committed to academic excellence to inspire lifelong learners and develop contributing citizens through a positive and safe environment. And those themes you will 100% see as we start digging through our strategies today. Okay. Whenever you have over 50 people involved in the planning process, there are times where the loudest voices will have the most impact. Okay? And so very strategically, knowing that we have so many people involved in the process, we have to set a couple core things that keep us in line. And the first is our beliefs. And these are our fundamental convictions, our values. And then we have our objectives, which are our measurable, observable end results. And then equally as important and most obvious are our parameters. And those are basically the out of bounds lines, where we're not going to go, where we're not willing to go to get people focused back to where we need to be. Okay. So this is our first strategy, and these are in absolutely no way, shape, or form in any order based on a number. The number is just significant to the first one so that we can identify it when we're talking about it. So just to understand what these slides represent, the strategy is in blue. It's the community partnerships. Okay, so strategy 1, community partnerships. And then in each slide you'll see proposed actions. That is the how. So the strategy in this case is community partnerships. The proposed action plans are the how we're going to do it. And then what's not shown here is additional plans and how we're going to go about it. Those are action steps. So we have plans and then we have steps. The steps are for us to evaluate to kind of help us guide ourselves in achieving what we're looking for. So what I'll do is I'll go briefly through each one of these strategies. I'll read them. I'll give you just a moment to go through the proposed action plans, both as a group and as a Board of Education, and then ask for any clarifications or thoughts. So strategy 1, community partnerships. We will develop and implement plans to continue and expand community partnerships. we have any thoughts or clarifications on strategy 1? If not, strategy 2, please. Early childhood. We will develop and implement a plan to improve and expand our early childhood education program. Thoughts?
Dr. Barker, so I want
Sir.
to point out just to our audience, this is the second read of this plan as we went through this during the board study session. So as we're moving through this, again, this is a second read that we've had, not our first time of working through this plan.
Great point, thank you. Okay, strategy 3, quality staff. We will develop and implement plans to attract and retain quality staff. Thoughts or clarifications? Thank you. Strategy 4, safety. We will develop and implement plans to increase a sense of safety for all families, students, and staff. Any thoughts or clarifications? Strategy 5, student achievement. We will develop and implement plans to increase student achievement and expand learning opportunities. And this is the one where we've discussed market value assets also. Thoughts, clarifications? Thank you. Technology is strategy 6. We will develop and implement plans to increase the effectiveness of technology usage. Strategy 7, and this is our final strategy, and this is one that you guys have in front of you because from our study session, let me just start by introducing the strategy. Strategy 7, well-being. We will develop and implement plans to address the social, emotional well-being of our staff and students. On the last action plan you'll see highlighted, we worked on 3 additional options, and Dr. Chastain will walk you through those additional options so we can select one to replace the highlighted action plan.
So on that highlighted piece, we had facilitate school schedules that foster a more supportive school community. And as we worked through that school schedules was a little unclear on, was that a master schedule, was that a teacher schedule, was that a student schedule? How did that really impact what the action steps were pertaining to? So over on the left-hand side, and those of you in the audience, in the left-hand side over there underneath well-being, we have 3 different options, and I'll read through those for you guys. Again, here's the one that we didn't fully see as going through. That's facilitate school schedules that foster a more supportive school community. So we are changing school schedules as the main focus. So the first option is facilitate schedule opportunities that foster a more supportive school community. Second option is facilitate school schedule routines that foster a more supportive school community. And the last option is facilitate schedule opportunities and routines that foster a more supportive school community. The intent, the action steps of this piece is to plan appropriately times during the day that we are supporting a more supportive school community, whether it's at our advisory times or at school meeting times for our elementary grades, but those that give us time to foster that. I'll just say my thought on this as we went round and round and round. That's why we have 3 options instead of 2, but the third one, schedule opportunities and routines, kind of encompassed the full picture that we are talking about. That could include schedules and advisory time and others to make that work.
Is this mainly directed towards staff, this statement? Is that what it's about?
It
It's
is,
about staff and students.
it's about finding the time and opportunity to meet with students to foster this. But in order to make that time, we needed to adjust our routines and.
So it applies to both students and staff.
It does.
Because when staff have the opportunity to collaborate, they collaborate not only on the well-being of students, but the well-being of each other.
Does anybody have a suggestion of one they would prefer?
I personally like the last one.
Okay. Anybody else?
That was kind of where my head went
I
to.
can live
Did you say you do like the last one? Yeah, I do too.
I think Dr. Parkhurst will switch that after we have approval of that. We will go with that third option for that for you guys.
And then obviously, thank you guys for your support. Is there any additional questions?
Thank you, everybody who did work on it.
Yeah.
Thank you to the group and all the community members that were involved.
So just as a final point of clarification, as we go ahead with approval of this, our fearless communication leader has already been working on posters, the communication plan, so that we get this out. The first thing that we will want to do is to relay the information to our staff. So tomorrow morning, I will be sending out a letter to our staff, just telling them that we have approval of this. And these are the strategies so that they can get to see that. We also will then need to be able to be out in the community, whether it's our Rotary or our Kiwanis or Lions or other community events, to be able to share this out to them. And then as we get into our November PD Plan Day, we will take some time with all of our staff to get into the action plans that we will be instituting this school year. I will also be getting to you as board members this week our proposed action plans that we will move forward with this year. And at this time, we have 7 that we have so generously decided to tackle. And so those will be all initiated during the 24-25 school year. And those will be the 7 that we will report back to the planning committee progress at the end of the school year.
One of the things that we talked about at the study session was kind of how we were going to go ahead and present it to the community. Just making sure, strategy 1 is just as important as strategy 5, etc.
Yeah.
They said something about it kind of being how it was going to be presented, and I didn't know if she had kind of an example.
She does,
of that.
and again.
Okay, sorry, I'm so sorry, I was just curious.
No, I'm really glad you brought that up, because that was another of Ms. Stone's comments, was how is that presented? As Dr. Parker said, it is only an organizational tool for us, not an order of importance. So as we look at that, and you guys do an approval piece of that, then I'll have Jill come around and show you real quick what our poster looks like, so that you can see how that works. Don't base your vote based on her poster. We will make sure that you can see.
I like that.
One, two, that's how we arranged it, that's why they wrap it in order.
No, I think that's good. I think that's good. Thank you. I just really was curious about that.
So, Ashley, do you feel like that hits that mark? So we will also, our goal is to have 2 posters in every building, one in the office, one in another area of their choosing. Then we will have smaller 8.5 by 11 for our classroom teachers to have in their classroom somewhere. And then it will also be the flyer that we will take to our community meetings to be able to share that with our community. Because the important part of this is this was not done just by the school. There were many, many community members, parents, business members, students that were a part of this. And in this room, there were quite a few of those that took their time and really were involved in this process. to it not just to be something that we decided we need, but as a community, we came together for this process.
Well, and the board, we thank those of you that did participate. We thank everybody else. Can't name them all by name, but it's very important to the future of the district and how we go forward. So again, the time that's been spent, the work that went into it, thank you very much for that. So, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item 6D, finance update.
Here we're off to 25% of our year complete already. Overall revenues are at 12% of budget and expenditures are at 16% of budget. Revenues are pretty steady compared to what they were last year. At this time, even though our basic formula money is down a bit, I have seen an increase in the classroom trust fund, and the Prop C dollars are up a little bit. And also there's been a pretty good collection on delinquent taxes that is brought up too. So it's not a complete wash, but it does help alleviate some of that lower state aid there on that. Expenditures are down slightly compared to fiscal year '24 in the operating funds, and I think that's due mostly to some of the positions we didn't fill through attrition last year. So we're pretty steady on that. Fund balance percentage, 39% compared to 31% last September, and our cash investments are at 18.5 million.
Any questions for Deb? Thank you very much.
Yep.
Item 6E, donations to the district. This is an action item.
I move to accept the donations to the district as listed.
Second.
Motion is second. Any question or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Item 6F, resolution for general obligation bond refunding. Chair would entertain a motion.
We have Hannah Snyder here tonight if we want to come up, if you guys have any questions. And then you know that she did break, you guys, you know the man in blue.
Yeah.
We've got Emily next time.
And then we also have Ben Thompson who
Ben Thompson.
works on the legal side of the refunding, so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm Hannah Snyder. I was here in August to kind of move forward with a refunding of the outstanding 2020 general obligation bonds. So at that time, we had noticed that rates had come down since you issued them in 2020, and by refunding them, it would produce savings of around $2.4 million. So since then, we've worked with Ben, and Joe and I have kind of ran a lot of different scenarios, looking at the best savings options for the district, and in addition to kind of working with our team, rates have also slightly come down since I was last here.
Yay.
Yeah, in August. So as of today, we're looking at savings of around 2.6 million, which is almost 12% of the refunded bonds. So great news to continue to move forward with that. And then just like last time, we're still seeing investors really interested in bonds sold at a premium. So with that concept, what we're able to do is on the 10 million that we're refunding, by selling the bonds at a premium, like we discussed last time, we're still able to actually reduce the principal outstanding on the new bonds by about $800,000. And this is really important because in Missouri, you're restricted to a legal debt limit for general obligation bonds. And one of the, I guess, key calculations within that capacity is how much principal you have outstanding. So if we're able to reduce principal by $800,000, that's just giving the district $800,000 back for their legal debt capacity legal limit. So that's really the main update. today we actually had a rating call, and I really want to give a shout out to Dr. Chastain and Deb. They were very prepared, and the rating analysts at S&P really liked how they were able to send questions ahead of time, and we're expecting to get the rating back October 25th. So moving along, and we're happy to answer any questions you have about the refunding or anything else.
Sounds like you're doing a good job and all that hard work.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Ben, you want to cover
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess you can cover what you're actually.
Yeah, I'll cover resolution.
The why. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right. So Ben Thompson with the law firm of Gilmore and Bell in Kansas City. So we drafted all the bond documents, the offering document, which kind of gives the overview of the district, financial overview, economic, demographic stuff for investors to look at to buy the bonds. So what you have in front of you is a resolution to consider to issue the bonds, the refunding bonds. It's a little bit different than a typical resolution in that Piper did not price today, so there's not actual final pricing numbers. This is a parameter style resolution, so within the document there are a set of parameters. And I think that Piper is looking to price the week of November 11th,
Yep.
maybe. So they'll price that, they'll look at the market during that week. And what's really good about that type of format is that they don't have to be stuck on the day of a board meeting. So they didn't have to price it. They can look at the week of November 11th and say, oh, it looks like it's going to be better on Monday or Friday or whatever, and they can time that for the district's benefit. Once the pricing's done, they'll hit all those parameters, we'll review, we'll finalize all the bond documents, put them into a transcript, get them over to the state auditor for review and registration. They will look at state law to make sure that all the boxes are checked, which they will be, and then they'll be issued, and I think we close on this deal December the 5th. Yep. I think that's right. So December 5th, bonds will be issued. Nothing to do on your end from that perspective, but you'll have those refunding savings there on December 5th.
So the rates aren't going to go up between now and then?
I can never make that promise, but we are continuing to hear that they're still expecting to continue to cut rates. So we would expect the savings to be around the 2.6 million. And even if they did go up a little, the savings are so high that we would still continue forward with the refunding no matter what.
And as a matter of timing, we really can't do anything to make this tax exempt until December 1st. So we have to close after the 5th or after the 1st of December. And what our market participants, what the investors want to see is less than 30 days between when we lock in rates and when they actually have to send their money in. And so that's that November 11th to December 5th. So we're trying to do this as soon as we can, but I just want to be cognizant of the fact that the previous Tuesday, there's an election going on. And at different points in our past, it didn't happen in 2020, it did happen in 2016. We had a little bit of market disruption where the rates went up, and then after about 3 weeks they came back down. So if we call you, we may just push that back a few weeks. We've got until March 1st to do this. This way, this puts us in a position to do it as early as possible and lock it in. But if there is some sort of disruption, I always like to say every 4 years we forget how unimportant that one person is, and we freak out, and then the country will continue to run, and everything will be okay. But we may delay that just to let the market calm down. But I don't anticipate that, but we'll see.
Okay. Other questions? We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Doug?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Jenny?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Ashley? Yes. Emily? Yes. Doug?
Yes. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
I will tell you that Deb is a star, and she told me how much she really likes rating calls, and so I was a little nervous, and I would like to say that we're a very good team on that, but she really does a great service for us. We appreciate her very much. So thank you, Deb.
Thank you, Deb.
Yes, thank you, Doug.
Number 6G, appointment to TIF Commission. This is an action item. Entertain a motion.
I move to appoint Dr. Chastain and Dr. Parkhurst to the Tax Increment Financing or TIF Commission.
Second.
Motion a second. I'm not sure which give a second. Any questions, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Item 6H, CCC internship agreement is an action item. Entertain a motion.
Move to approve the template from as presented for various CCC internship agreements.
That's the last one. Second.
Got a motion second. Questions for anybody? Dr. Hickman or Dr. Chastain?
Is this mainly for the nursing and?
This one in particular is just for the second year to our advanced health services. They all were certified CNAs last year, so they've come back this year and they're working towards some other certifications. But the big part of coming back is that we place them in internship experience, one that is ideally hands-on, which requires a bit more of an extensive agreement between us and the other entities, and so that's what you're looking at is that starter agreement between us and whatever facility is allowing them to be hands-on.
This will allow, Dr. Hickman did a great job of having legal counsel, making sure that we have this appropriate, but knowing as she continues different internship programs, even outside of nursing, we have a template that will allow us to be able to utilize that and know that we have that guidance.
Other questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Item 7A.
I move to adjourn the regular meeting.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed,
Oh, yeah, phones, come to get phones. Yeah.